We are so glad to have you back with us. Again, if you have pen, paper, and you're writing down all this information, so much that our staff attorney from Nevada Legal Services, Ron Sung, has for us today. And he's provided so much already. So the last session covered a wealth of information. This session, Ron says he wants to cover some income tax information for you. So Ron, go ahead, tell us about this.
All right, well, it's tax season again until April 15th. Well, it's right now. You could have started at the end of January. But yeah, right now is the hot season. You probably shouldn't wait until April 15th.
Okay, it's not 15th?
This year is the 18th or 17th?
I think it's the 18th, 17th or 18th. I keep saying the 18th.
But either way, you probably shouldn't wait until mid-April to do your taxes. It's going to be long lines everywhere. There's always a big line. One interesting thing is that, so if you do it by hand or you're doing it by paper file, right? You're mailing it off, for example. You would it needs to be postmarked on the 15th. And so I believe the 15th is on a Saturday, so you can go to the post office on a Saturday. But if you e-file it, if you do electronic filing, you can do it like a day or so later because they allow what's known as the 3-day mailing rule. So if it's postmarked on the 15th, obviously the IRS might not receive it within 2 or 3 days. But so that means that they give the people who e-file it an extra few days because e-filing is automatic.
Yeah.
All right. We can go to slide 12 immediately and just start talking about the basics of taxes. You have 3 years to file your federal income taxes every year to receive that refund. Most people will get a refund. I shouldn't say most people get it. Most low-income people will get a refund.
Okay.
My expertise with taxes has been with just the low-income population because that's my job. I can't really say too much about people who do, complex business taxes and so forth. But so this information just geared towards people who, make around 55 or under. That doesn't mean you're low income; just means that's just a federal tax requirement for filing for free.
So if you say you're low income, that's under 55?
So you can, if you are a single person and you make, I think, under 55 or something, or a couple make you under 55, you can file for free.
Okay.
All right, and that's really important because a lot of people, they go to, they're afraid to do it themselves, or they go to an expensive tax repair and they don't really need to. If all you have, for example, is a W-2, right? And you got no kids, you should probably just do it yourself because those are the simplest things ever, right? Okay. But if you have things like a 1099, right? You were a contractor, you got your 1099, or you have like strange arrangements with your kids, right? Say you're divorced, for example, and you got like custody issues, or you take care of not just your kid, but like maybe your parent or another family member. That's something you might want to consider going to a tax preparer for, because there are credits to claim or there are taxes to pay on various things. So. There's a basic filing requirement. So a lot of people, we see a lot of seniors who all they get is Social Security. They come and it's like, I want to file my taxes. Like, you don't really need to. If all you get is a Social Security check, you don't need to file your taxes. That's something people don't know about. If you're an individual and you make under $10,350 or a couple making double that, obviously, you don't need to file your taxes. Usually you should, though, because you probably get some money back. But if you're like a 19-year-old kid and you made like $300 at a part-time job at one point, yeah, you could probably file your taxes. You definitely should do it for free. Get that $20 refund check back. Yeah, but you don't have to do it. So a lot of people think like, oh my God, I got to do it immediately. But it's not.
And I like the fact that you say that because I was going to ask that question. There are so many people who say, well, I didn't have to file, so I didn't file.
Right.
And what happens that I have seen happen, say a person did file and then for 3 years did not file, and because they didn't have to, and then they start filing again, that's like a red flag at the IRS.
Well, so if you just get a refund check, they're not gonna, you'll be okay. But if you owe a lot of money after 3 years, right, for whatever reason, it might be something, that might be a red flag,
So I usually encourage people, go ahead and file.
Go ahead and file,
You know,
I absolutely agree
especially
with
if
that.
it's free.
Especially if it's free. Yes.
Don't pay $500 to file if you don't have to file.
Yes.
But if you can file it for free, I'd say go ahead and file.
Yeah.
And that way the IRS, they see you year after year. And that, to me, is a lot better.
And I want to say this, if there is a VITA site, and we were talking about this during the break, if there is a VITA site, VITA means a Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program, or any sort of free tax preparer program in your neighborhood, you should try to use that. These are people who have no incentive to really wrongfully claim tax credits or refunds that you shouldn't get. So unfortunately in Las Vegas, there are a lot of tax preparers that take tax credits and get really high exorbitant refunds that they shouldn't, and then they take a huge chunk of that. Sometimes you don't even know they're taking a huge chunk of that.
Oh, okay.
So tax preparer scams are unfortunately a huge problem, huge problem. So like if a person could get like $5,000 or $6,000 in refund, the tax preparer will just say like, well, they won't tell you how much you get. They'll just say, oh, here's $5,000, and then the tax preparer will pocket the rest of it.
Oh, gee,
Yeah.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
But one of the things I say here for our people, they need to know that there are places they can go. If they just read the newspaper or watch TV, you'll see that there are places you can go and get your taxes done for free.
Right, and you can always, if you go on irs.gov, you can file it for free. Most of the major companies like TurboTax, if you're under the filing, if you're under the income threshold, you can just go online and just do it for free anyway.
Okay.
So they're mandated by law to offer their software, the software that people pay good money for. They have to do it online for free.
Okay.
So people who don't, are under the 50,000 threshold.
I know we have a lot more we're going to talk about in taxes, and one of the things I want to let our engineer know that the counter has disappeared on the camera, and so I don't know how much time we have left. So once we get that back on,
great.
But we want to go on. We'll just keep going.
Okay.
And,
so filing status is also something you should, that's the first thing that people ask, are you single? Are you married? Are you head of household? Do you have dependents, right? And if a tax preparer suggests that you do married filing separately, you might want to reconsider that. Married filing separately is the worst thing, is the worst tax option out there. You can't claim a lot of the credits. You can't claim the big one, the earned income tax credit. But unfortunately, sometimes you're forced to do that. If you are married, for example, but your spouse does not want to file taxes with you for whatever reason, that one you should probably go to a very skilled tax preparer to do that, because there are usually, you will probably have to pay if you're doing married filing separately. A lot of people want to claim that they are the head of household, but sometimes they're not. You get more credits as the head of household,
yes.
But yeah, to go through that, you have to have taken care of an individual for 6 months. Either they lived with you or you provided financial assistance, more than half of their financial assistance.
Okay.
You should really think about that. And then, same thing, like for a dependent, to claim a dependent, you have to have provided more than half of their financial assistance.
Okay.
Yeah. So just because they live with you and somebody else pays for everything doesn't mean they are your dependent.
I understand. Okay.
Yeah. The earned income tax credit, that's the big one. That's what you hear people talk about all the time. This is if you are, under 55,000 or whatever, and you have, if it's just yourself and you're over the age of 25, you can get some money back from the earned income tax credit besides just your federal tax withholdings. If you have kids, that's where the big money is, right? That's where you get thousands of dollars per kid. Yeah. And but for the kids thing, that's also a really difficult situation too. So the kid could be anybody from your own child, obviously, stepchildren, grandchildren, nieces, nephews. If they're not a full-time student, college full-time student, they have to be under 19 years old. If they are a full-time student, they have to be under 24 years old. They got to live with you during those 6 months too. A lot of people, colleges obviously, if their home residence is yours, that's one thing. But if they're like in another state or living at a relative's house, you can't claim them. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so. we see, and you have to have provided more than half of their financial support too.
Okay.
So just because you got a kid living with you doesn't mean you automatically get the earned income tax credit.
Okay.
Yeah. Another thing is the child tax credit. So just because you get the earned income tax credit doesn't mean you get the additional child tax credit too.
Wow.
There's a different requirement for that. You have to be, the kid has to be under 17. So there's just all these ridiculous rules with the federal income tax system.
But if you go to somebody like VITA, all that's figured in.
That's figured out, yeah. So one of the biggest problems we see is that you'll automatically get audited if you and the parent of the kid, or whoever else is the caretaker of the kid, both claim the same kid and use the same social security number. Yeah. So the first person who does it will get their refund, the e-file, that's fine. The second person who does it, their e-filing will be rejected automatically when they see that the kid's social has been used a second time now in their system. And you're going to be audited. So if you have arrangements with somebody else, you need to be sure that your information is correct. You should accurately report. If the kid has been living with you or has not been living with you, please accurately report that. All right. Recently, I've been seeing a lot of divorce decrees. So I guess in Clark County, they're basic, the basic divorce decree forms. And I'm sure Nye County, I'm pretty sure all in Nevada, they're, the basic forms that you do by yourself if you're doing your own divorce. They have this part about who can claim the kid every other year, right?
Okay.
And so it's listed in the divorce decree. It is possible if the kid is not with you that year, for example, you can still be providing more than half of that financial support to that kid. And then there's this strange situation that even if you're providing half of that support, you might not be able to get the earned income tax credit or the child tax credit, even though you're doing all, you're providing the child support, but the divorce decree says something, and it's a mess. If the kid isn't living with you, it's an absolute mess.
Now, I want everybody to know right away, look, Ron has so much information and a lot more information than we can cover tonight. So be sure to go ahead and have his phone number and contact him if you have any questions about anything. We are definitely out of time, but Ron, I want to thank you for being here with us tonight.
Thanks for inviting me.
And this has just been fantastic, but we'll see you all next month.